As those new American tariffs go into effect today, many Americans are bracing to see how it might impact the price of items here in the U.S. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger joins us to explain how it's all connected and what it can mean for your bottom line. Jill, thank you so much for being here, especially on a day like today. We knew these tariffs were coming. Here they are. Explain to people exactly how tariffs work and who pays for them.
So, just think of it as a fee on something that comes into the country. And that tariff is paid by the importing company. So the U.S. company who's paying to get the stuff from overseas, from Mexico, from Canada, from China, will pay that extra fee. They'll pay it to the U.S. Treasury, and then they'll have that good. The real question is what happens at that point? They pay this extra money. Do they just swallow that? Are they going to make less money on what they're producing, or do they pass it along to the consumer?
To keep their profits the same.
Exactly, and we think they're going to pass it along. That is why a lot of economists are kind of penciling in the idea that the inflation rate, which now stands at about 3%, that's going to drift up, maybe to 3.5%, maybe even 4%. This is completely dependent on how long these tariffs stay in place and what the retaliation looks like. So it does tend to lead to higher prices.
And when can that happen?
It's weird because there are things that are longer cycles, right? So, if you're building a house and you've got lumber that's coming in, and from Canada, and it might take a while to show up in the price of the house. There are certainly houses for sale already. But if you've got something that's perishable, like let's say an avocado, that actually will show up pretty quickly. And to remind everybody, the idea of inflation here is not that we're going back to 9% inflation, which was the peak of the COVID era. It's that we are sort of highly sensitized to inflation now.
What do you mean by that?
When we go through something and we bring it to our experience today, that is called recency bias. We've experienced it and we're kind of hyper about it today. We've just gone through this inflationary surge. We're not back to where we want to be. Now we see inflation go up again. I think this probably explains why people are very unnerved by the idea of prices drifting up, even if they're not going to be as high as we experienced in the summer of 22.
So the president is confident that this is not going to affect the economy long term, but are there concerns about a potential recession?
Well, I think there are concerns that the economy is already slowing down. There are concerns that people are worried about this inflation. It's showing up in some data. But right this minute, we are slowing down. We're not in a recession. A recession would have to last for a longer period of time. To be clear, there will be a recession. I don't know when. Remember, a lot of economists had predicted that there would be a recession in 2023 or 24. None happened. That does not mean that you should not take care of your financial life. And what I mean by that is, if you're worried about a recession, about job losses, you should look at your own personal finances. You should try to beef up that emergency reserve fund. Keep that debt under wraps. Try as best you can not to make reactionary moves. The stock market dumped at the end of the day yesterday. Don't start moving your portfolio around. Look at your personal finances. That's what you can control.
Work on your financial health. I love that. Jill, thank you so much.